Is there anybody there?
I'll tell you, the funny thing about this is like, I flew over the Atlantic Ocean and went to a baseball game in London. And the weirdest thing about the whole experience to me was seeing the Philly Fanatic and Mr. and Mrs. Met on the field at the same time.
So cool.
And don't forget, front row Ricky.
What is front row Ricky? Rick Feliciano, of course. Ricky Feliciano
Rick.
ran into front row Ricky. That's right. Ran into Rick Feliciano, noted Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs fan, at the ballpark.
Massive fan. Hilarious. This dude.
Yeah, just a hilarious happened. Yeah, I knew he was over there, but it was just so funny to like look up. I was waiting for Ranger Amy to finish using the restroom, and I'm sitting there, and my phone battery is on like 3%, and I see Ricky, and I'm like, oh my God, Ricky! And so I had never met him in person, so it was a really cool sort of quick moment, and I took a picture, and I said I'll post it on Twitter. And he's like, yeah, do that. And he's like, and I'll retweet it. And like literally, I took the picture and I load up Twitter, and my phone battery dies.
Whoa.
So I had to wait like 4 or 5 hours till after we had gone out to dinner after the game, and then
dude, I almost texted you, and to tell you, I was like, hey man, look for Rick.
Yeah.
Rick
I knew he was over there. But I was like, there's 53,000 people. I was like, he's definitely not in row 64 of the 200 level. So I figured I wasn't going to see him. But it was really funny to run into him. The other funny thing that happened was, so I was wearing my my Phillies overalls, which
twins. I have the Rangers ones from photos.
Oh, sweet.
God.
So I was not alone. And the other thing that I really loved was that as I would pass British people, they would comment on my dungarees. They said, nice dungarees. And I was just like, dungarees is such a great word, right? Like for my overalls. And so that was a great little piece of vocabulary right there. But it was my brother, unbeknownst to me, my brother's a woman my brother works with. He's basically like his assistant at his law firm. He had sent her a picture of, I've never met her before, but he sent her a picture of me in my dungarees and said, this is my brother. He's going to be at the game. If you see him, shout his name out. And so I was at an ice cream truck on the outside concourse, and I hear someone yell, Paul Caputo. And I'm like, what in the world? Like who, like how in the world? So and then I see her and I don't recognize her. I'm just like, hi. And she's like, do you know who I am? I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't. She's like, I'm your dad's assistant, or I'm your brother's assistant. And I was like, oh my God. So we like took a picture and sent it to the family, and everyone's
that's hilarious.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that was really funny. So
go across the pond, and then you go meet people from your area.
In a crowd of 55,000 people, I ran into 2 people who I knew or who knew me. So it was that was definitely very, very funny. So it was so the other thing about the experience was that it's a multi-purpose stadium, but it's currently used for soccer.
Yeah.
And the arrangement of the seats was a little awkward in some places. And we had our seats, like I said, we were in the upper deck pretty close to the top. We had like the whole stage where they were doing all of like the musical numbers, and where like the Fanatic and the Mr. and Mrs. Met were dancing, and there was like sofas on it, and like at one point all the pregame celebrities and everything were just sort of like milling around and like taking pictures with fans, and that was between us and the baseball game. And so like it was a long way to the baseball game. And you got real good at telling whether a pitch was a ball or a strike based on like the very subtle movements that the umpire was making, right? So it was it was you were there because of the atmosphere, right? Like it was
it's a once in a lifetime kind of situation that you just like if you have the opportunity to go and you have the means to do it, why not?
Yeah.
it was exactly that. And so ultimately I was super, super glad that I did it. Right. Like I've never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a number of really great baseball experiences, and I feel very lucky to be able to say that. Very often traveling with friends. You know, we had our Curve Brim Media meetup not too long ago in May.
That's all. Val is like, this is the second time on a podcast that I keep hearing about this.
I wish there was another one this year. I would go in a heartbeat. So
we should do a Curve Brim Media meetup, meetup.
A mini meetup.
Yeah.
So Val, you're based in Las Vegas?
I'm based in Las Vegas. I moved here 6 years ago from Arlington, Texas. So I'm from Arlington originally.
Okay. Well,
isn't the AAA Championship happening in Vegas again?
It is.
There you go, Paul. There you go.
See,
I'm thinking about meeting Eric in El Paso at the end of the season, though. So
keep me apprised of that. I can drive to El Paso. That's
I don't know. I kind of that sounds like an even better idea because I want to go to El Chihuahua's. Game.
I've heard that stadium's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I want to go to El Paso just because I've heard that the food in El Paso is amazing.
Oh, don't even get me started. Actually, for the sake of the time, don't even get me
started. What's the date of that meetup?
Eric said it was the last 2 games of the season, so I don't know off the top of my head, but I will be going to the AAA Champ. I mean, I'm 15 minutes away from the stadium, so
yeah. Okay. Well, it's not that hard for me to get to Vegas, and Ed and I have been talking about getting out to the AAA Championship game a couple of times. I don't know if Ed has any points left in the chamber here for baseball travel this year.
So Eric was actually at the game that I was at. It was the Sounds versus Durham. It was Bulls versus Sounds 2 years ago, and he was at that game too. And obviously we didn't know each other, but I haven't been since 2022.
So the last game for the El Paso Chihuahuas at home is September 10th through the 15th. So the last 2 games is the 14th, which is a Saturday, and 15th, which is a Sunday.
This is trouble. Eric's about to get stood up again.
I'm going to have to make a decision because, so I turned 30 I already feel 30 though. I turned 30 on September 14th. I was going to be in Denver for my birthday for a Rockies-Broncos game.
Yeah, you know who lives in Denver, right?
Yeah.
That guy right there.
If you are in, did you say a Rockies-Broncos game?
Yeah, so the Broncos play the Steelers that Sunday, and then the Rockies are going to be in town as well.
Well, keep me apprised of that because I will come meet you at the Rockies game. That would be
very least you'll go to the Rockies game.
I don't need to go to a Broncos game, but yeah, let me know when you're going to be at Coors Field, and I will come down.
So now I have to make a decision. I didn't know that. I guess I thought I could. I mean, if I can do both, I will. Well, you just said the 10th. If I can do both, I will. I can probably do here to El Paso up there.
Well, listen,
lots of planning going on.
If I know Eric Profit, he's not going to hold it over your head for the rest of your life if you say you're going to go to a game and then you don't make it.
Still going. Not at all.
Whoops.
Which, by the way, Durham Bulls did win that series, the championship win, the one you guys went to.
Your Durham Bulls.
My Durham Bulls, baby.
Your Durham Bulls. I did see some good minor league hats over there.
I was just going to ask you give me the teams and names like that you saw there.
I saw some Hillsboro Hops.
Really?
I know Hillsboro Hops.
London?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I saw the Modesto Nuts. There was another one because when I found the Frisco Rough Riders. I saw the Rough Riders over there. Yeah.
Someone likes the quesos. Yeah. Someone likes the quesos.
I saw the Clearwater Threshers, but that's because I was wearing them.
That doesn't count, bro.
I did see some Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs on Rick Feliciano.
Of course.
I need to know what hat was he wearing though. Was it the bacon hat, which I think is the coolest hat? Was it?
Oh, I'd have to. He was all yellowed up. I don't think he was wearing the bacon hat. I think he was wearing a yellow.
I think he was wearing the yellow with the pig on it.
Yeah. Although you can check my Twitter and it's there. So, except you can't, Val, because you're not on Twitter.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, yeah, check. You might have to scroll for a little bit.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of helmets going on right now.
The other thing that was interesting, they played they did the United States national anthem, and then they did God Save the King, which was and I'm still not used to it being God Save the King instead of God Save the Queen. They actually changed their anthem based on, who the head of the royal family is at that given moment. So
interesting.
It's been God Save the Queen for so long.
I'm not gonna lie, I did love the fact that you found somebody who almost had like the same hat as the Newport Gulls.
Oh yeah, that guy from Italy. Yeah.
He's wearing on this one. He's wearing the Phillies, all yellow Phillies with a baseball and and
an Iron Pigs jersey.
Yeah, and a Pigs jersey, yellow with a heart and the bacon shaping a heart.
This dude from Italy, he was like, this was at Trafalgar Square, and he shows up, and he's in a Phillies jersey, and he's in that like Gulls hat, and I was like, do you mind me asking you what that hat is? I think it's really cool. And I knew it looked familiar to me, but he was like, oh, it's my softball team, and it's called, and he says the Italian word for gulls, which I can't remember. And then he's like, it's, we're called the Gulls. And so I was like, okay, that's very cool. And I took a picture of it and I posted it. And the moment I posted it, I was just like, wait a minute, that is the Newport Gulls. That is a 100% logo that already exists. And so like right away, I'm just like, hey, here it looks.
They just changed the colors here and there.
Yeah.
They put a logo on that cap, but I mean, it is good for them, though. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yes, right. Like as an Italian, I don't think the Newport Gulls are going to send a cease and desist to an Italian softball
I don't
team.
think so. No, I don't think so either. So
I'm trying to remember some of the other minor league teams I saw over there.
Was it a Quesos hat or was it?
No, it was actually a Rough Riders T-shirt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Still very cool.
Yeah, it was.
Now, this is the one thing so far that we both disagree on is on the queso.
The quesos
are my jersey to come in. You have no idea how excited I am.
She's a massive fan of the quesos. I'm not.
No, it's so bad.
I'm sorry, man. That's
the Hickory Crawdads.
Oh,
really?
That was another one I saw over there, and that's a Dan Simon classic. So I had to take a picture of it and send it to him. And I was like, what are you doing wearing a Crawdads t-shirt? And he's like, I went through there once and I like the logo. And I was just like, that's what minor league baseball is all about.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude, though.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. I wanted to know, it's like, did Major League Baseball do anything as far as like, maybe before the game, during the game, after, or anything like that, like to educate fans on the game? Obviously, because there's like, obviously there's a lot of Americans that were going, but also a lot of people from there that were going. Like, did they do anything as far as education wise?
They did, actually. Yeah, it was kind of cool. I mean, especially at the Trafalgar Square thing, they had like here are the basics of the game. And I wish I had actually like documented some of it, because it was the stuff that you don't think of because it's just so innate. Natural, it's just so ingrained. It's so second nature for us. And I'm sure it's true of any sport, right? Like any sport that you watch, stuff is going to become second nature. At one point, little Tyler wanted to know if there was a hit by a pitch or there was a near hit by a pitch. He wanted to know if the player was out for getting hit by the pitch, right? Like,
no, yeah. You don't.
But I remember the closest experience I had to this was in 2010. I was in Australia, and I went with an Australian friend, or at least a friend who had been in Australia for quite some time, to an Aussie rules footy match. And I had never seen it before. I didn't know what the rules were. There were basically like three rules. It was super easy to pick up Aussie rules football. And then I remember like really enjoying the game. And I sort of wondered, how baseball is in that respect. Like, are there like just the very most basic fundamentals that you can pick up and you can enjoy a game without really knowing the nuances of it? Or is it one of these sports that you really have to like know inside and out, to really follow a game. And there were home runs, there were diving catches, there were plays that was very clear like something cool had just happened. The home run was the big thing, right? Like Bryce Harper hit a solo shot to tie game 1, and then he did went down on his knees and did the goal thing. Of all the people to have like the big hit of the weekend, Whit Merrifield hit a 3-run home run, and that was
of all people,
right? Whit Merrifield, right? The stupidest thing is the Bryce Harper home run that tied game 1 happened while I was out on the concourse meeting Rick Feliciano. So Ricky and I both missed that one.
Were there any TVs like that you could see the game, or it's not like here?
No. No, the stadium amenities were really bare bones. It was you can see why they have soccer riots over there, is because like there wasn't that much else to do, right? Like you can buy beer and you can watch sports, and it was like even some of the minor league, and granted, I'm basing this on one stadium in one sporting event in all of Europe that I've ever been to. So I don't know if there are ones over there that are more like, a Durham Bulls or the Albuquerque Isotopes or whatever, where you have like these fairly nicely appointed stadiums that like feel sort of architecturally interesting. It didn't feel architecturally interesting, right? Like it felt.
Well, I mean, it's 2012 is almost.
2012.
That's a long. Yeah, it's a long time for.
I don't know. I mean, Coors Field was built in 1995, right? Like, I mean, it felt more like Veterans Stadium than it did Citizens Bank Park.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the other thing that was funny, sort of game wise, was that they had artificial turf, but I think they were protecting the soccer pitch, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that they just put the artificial turf down on top of the soccer pitch, because the ball was like very bouncy. It was like they were playing on sponge. And like I remember at one point, Edmundo Sosa hit a little flare to right field, and it landed in front of the right fielder, and it just about like bounced over the head of the right fielder, because it was like such a sort of spongy material. And so we've seen games played on sort of spongy artificial turf before, but never at the major league level, right? Like that was pretty interesting to see them playing a major league game on that kind of surface. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Val, you got anything for him?
No, I'm just as you were telling your story about like from when you got on the plane and stuff, I couldn't help but think like, man, I can't wait to experience this. I've never flown internationally.
Oh.
I know that the next opportunity will be, I'm not doing my math right. Is Dodgers, when are they going to Korea? When is that game? Don't the Dodgers have a game in Korea or in Japan coming up soon? Or
the Dodgers and Padres opened the season in Korea.
I'm so dumb. Okay. Then WBC is on my bucket list.
Oh, the WBC. Yeah. Absolutely. Even
5, right? 26.
Even in the United 26. States, that would be cool to see. Well, I'll tell you, the first thing I did was I started looking at, what are the other series that they're going to be doing, right? Like when are they going to be playing international baseball again? I am very fortunate to have gotten to do a certain amount of international travel in my lifetime. I am aware of how fortunate I am for that. Once you do it, you sort of get the travel bug, right? Like it's hard to, you also realize at a certain point, like how easy it is. Like it feels like such a barrier. And, I mean, there are certain, like going through customs is a pain. The time zone changes are a pain. But ultimately, if you can handle being on a plane for a while, it's very, very doable. And, like we made sort of a snap decision we're going to Japan in September.
I remember that.
We're going to tour around, and I have my friend Masa is over there. He's a huge Hanshin Tigers fan. And so we now have tickets. He sent me a picture. I have a picture of the tickets that we have to 2 games in September. And actually, Val, when you were talking about the Chihuahuas game, September 10 is when we get back from Japan. So I was like, I don't know if I can if I can go straight from Japan to El Paso to to see baseball. But that is like the idea of traveling internationally to see sports is so much fun, right? Like, and so, and it doesn't even have to be Major League Baseball, like seeing a Japanese baseball game or 2 Japanese baseball games. I'm so jazzed for that. I saw a Caribbean Series game in Puerto Rico. Ed and I were just talking about that before we started recording.
And I was just going to say, by the way, the AAA the World Baseball Classic is going to San Juan in 2026.
We got to do it. Curb Ring meetup. Getting to San Juan is so easy. It's so easy to fly to San Juan. Yeah, and it's usually pretty cheap.
I gotta say, Mom, Dad, I know you're probably gonna listen to this. And they have told me multiple times. I know I don't need a passport to get to San Juan, but that's my biggest thing. I have a passport, but it expired in 2007. So
yeah.
We're good. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Also, on that note, Cubs to open the 2025 regular season in Japan versus the Dodgers. That's what I was thinking. So I was like,
Dodgers.
Huh?
The Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew I saw something about that a few weeks ago. So I was like, I got to make up my mind. 2025 Cubs, Dodgers, or WBC. And I'm like, WBC, gotta do it. I mean, I did go to the WBC when it was in Phoenix, but obviously that's not the same.
Guys.
Yes, Ed.
So this year, 2024.
Yeah.
September 27th. Obviously, it's a national holiday. I don't know if you guys knew this. September 27th is a national holiday. Gio's Truly's birthday, by the way. And that's a Friday. The 28th is the AAA Championship in Vegas.
Ed's birthday in Vegas? Are you kidding me? Ed is also just about to turn 30.
Oh my goodness. I'm turning 21.
Yes. You gotta take a shot for every year.
So
I'm gonna have to tell the wife, I'm like, listen, babe, weekend in Vegas. Yes, I'll do one game and then we'll do whatever you want.
Darla would like that. She would love going to Vegas and seeing one game. And
she said as long as we go to the Grand Canyon, she doesn't mind.
And you know what's so fun? And I was on the phone with my father a couple days ago because he's coming out for that game. You know what's so fun about the AAA Championship game is that we don't see any of the International League teams in Vegas. Right?
Because you're Pacific.
Pacific Coast. So like when I saw like Sounds jerseys and Durham Bulls jerseys, I was like, I feel like I'm at an international game. Like this is insane. Like not international league, but like international, like from a different world. Like it was
so cool, isn't it?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've never been to an All-Star game, but the All-Star game is going to be in Philadelphia in 2026, and so I'm
going to the All-Star game in a few weeks, or in Arlington in about. I wish I could say in a few weeks. I guess it is in a month. So
this is there's so many cool things happening this year.
It is not to be understated, and I think I said this before we started recording, and not after we started recording. But it's very much an honor for me right now to be speaking with Val, the Stadium Food Girl, for the first time ever, because I have been following Val's work for a long time and noticing, and especially I really enjoyed, Val, when you were a guest. Before you were a co-host, you were a guest on the Dad Hat Chronicles, and that was a great episode. And just hearing all of like the access that you have gotten to like different stadiums and getting invited to Fenway and getting to experience these ballparks in certain ways by being a stadium food social media influencer, right? Like that's super cool. And that gives you a perspective on all these experiences that I think other people don't have. So
we don't have.
I gotta say though, like it has been, and I get emotional when I think about it because I remember my mom and dad, and then it's like they have 3 girls, right? I'm the oldest, and I remember not understanding why we couldn't sit behind home plate, why we couldn't have the cool seats, and for us, it was always like 300s, nosebleeds, whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like I remember, it's such a funny story. One of my favorite stories is I remember when we would pass the club level at the old Arlington ballpark, which was Ameriquest, when I used to go there and I used to see the suites and I used to tell my sisters, look, those are hotel rooms. That's where the rich people get to see, like I wonder what the hotel rooms look like. And they're actually just suites. And I'll be like, I can't wait to be in one of those hotel rooms one day. Like, I wonder what the hotel rooms look like. They get to stay here at the stadium and then watch from their room like it's Toronto or something.
Hey, I was just gonna say Toronto, you can do it. So
yeah. Just be careful about your behavior.
Bro,
it's just cool because like now I get to help show off their work, and there's so many foodie, pages for like restaurants in New York, Chicago, LA, but it's like there aren't enough like stadium food pages. And to your point earlier, stadium food isn't really known to be the best, but when you see that there really is, when it really is awesome, it's fun to see. Like the boomstick at Arlington, and now a lot of stadiums are doing the 2-foot long hot dog, and it's awesome.
But it's like the food, stadium food has come such a long way.
Yeah.
From like when we were kids to like now, like like I can still think to like when the Cleveland Guardians, they have the hot dog with the Fruit Loops on it and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 years ago, you would have not gotten that.
And I remember, Ed, I think I'd said this on your when you had me on as a guest. Minor league games, unfortunately, do not draw the same crowd as a Phillies Nats or Phillies Mets, Dodgers, Yankees crowd. So these chefs have to draw in people some way, and it's always going to be through the food.
Well, I think it's cool that the work that you're doing to showcase that, and I think that helps them raise their game, right? Like the fact that you're out there calling them out, or not calling them out, but showcasing the work that they're doing. And so I don't know.
And not only baseball though, because she's done some hockey and some basketball. So like, she just like, not just baseball alone, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Gotta show the world. You can go for good food.
Well, maybe next year at the London series, you could tell them not to put Cheese Whiz on cheeseburgers. Save the Cheese Whiz for the cheesesteaks.
That's funny.
That's actually kind of funny though. Like if you think about it, like what people think what American food is like, in other countries, right? And what we think is, like British food, like fish and chips here is a little bit different than what you got it over there.
Yeah. Well, and we did like the touristy thing, right? Like we were like, let's go to a pub and we'll get fish and chips and meat pies. And we did, and they were delicious. I will tell you,
funny
Mets fans, I support all people rooting for their own home team and, being who they are as fans. But Mets fans are objectively the worst people. And we had some...
I don't know, man. I got a list of a couple fan bases.
I am of course being funny, as they say. Some of my best friends are Mets fans, but we had a funny experience where after game one, the ballpark was about 4 miles from our hotel, which was an easy subway ride, right? It was an easy tube ride. But after the game, there was basically one way back to the Stratford station, which is where the ballpark was. And to get to it, like 55,000 people all funneled out of the ballpark and started walking the same direction. And they were really like sort of, they were just funneled into this, this one spot. And there was a huge bottleneck basically getting to the station, to the point where you could tell what was happening and you just accepted it. But it was like being in a traffic jam trying to get out of a parking lot. You just would walk for a little bit and then you'd stop dead. And then you just had to make friends with the people around you, because you were just going to be standing there for a few minutes before you got to walk again. And they actually had like police basically, or traffic, folks directing, the mass of humanity with like stop and go signs. They were holding up signs that were like stop and go. And like you'd reach a certain point and then you had to stop and like you'd wait. And so it took us about an hour and a half to get from the ballpark to a subway stop that was like a 10-minute walk away.
Wow.
And let me ask you this: you couldn't walk back to the hotel?
Well, that's what we did after game 2. We walked 4.5 miles back to the hotel, and it was a very cool walk. And we went through all these little neighborhoods in London, and it was a cool way to see London, right? That was actually kind of great. But after game 1, we finally get back to our subway stop, and there was like a little pub there that we wanted to try. It seemed like a cool little spot. And we got in there, and it was 10:50 p.m. And I ordered us 2 beers, and I ordered us some fish and chips with mashed peas, which are just mashed peas, by the way. There's like, if you want seasoning, you got to bring your own. And and wings. And so the guy who I was ordering from, I think he was a little grumpy that we were ordering like right as the kitchen was closing, basically.
Yeah.
And
you were that guy.
I was. But before I was that guy, there was a group of Mets fans in front of me. And they were trying to order quickly. They just wanted like a bunch of food, and they didn't know what anything was. And they were all clearly Americans. And they were it was like, a group of attractive young people, right? Like, so they could sort of get away with whatever. But they had the menu, and they were just like this and this and this and this and this and this. And so they ordered, and they all went back to their table, and they were having a good time. And and then I step up, and I got 2 beers, and I ordered the food that I just described. And he hands me the beers, and I pay for the whole order. And I say, how does the food work? Do we come claim it? Like, or do they bring it to us? And he says, no, we'll bring it to your table. So I was like, okay, that's great. So I go and I sit down. We are starving, right? Like, and we're sort of nursing our beers while we're waiting for the food because our stomachs are kind of empty at this point. And we're waiting for it's our first night there, and so we're waiting for our first fish and chips of the trip. And so finally, like 20 minutes goes by, and I was just like, I know it's different in Europe, and it's like, there's no tipping in Europe, so service is a little bit different. Sometimes things take a little bit longer. But finally, I like get up and I go over and I was just like, so roughly, how long you think it might take for the food to come out? And he looks at me and he says, we delivered your food over here. And here's a table full of Mets fans with a whole bunch of food on their table. And among their food, I'm sure, is our food, which they were just, I'm sure they had plenty to drink at this point. Probably had no idea that like stuff that was delivered was not stuff that they had ordered. But our wings and our fish and chips and our unseasoned mashed peas were delivered to a bunch of Mets fans. And we were left without food and still starving. And at 11 o'clock at night in London, you would think there would be a way to get some food, right? Like you would think like I equate London with like New York City, right? Like I'm thinking like you should be
like a big metropolitan area.
The very first night in London, what we had for dinner was stadium food at the ball game, and then Papa John's pizza.
Shut up!
It was the only place that was open. It was and I was just like, we're pretty good about like being. I mean, we looked like big, dumb, goofy Americans in our baseball caps and our baseball stuff and all that.
And your dungaroos.
In my dungarees and my sneakers and all that. But like we do a good job of like not going to Starbucks or McDonald's or whatever when we're traveling internationally.
Yeah, to the local thing.
Yeah. So we wanted, even if it was like touristy, like give me a dark beer and a fish and chips, like every American tourist thinks every British person eats. It was still like we were in the British pub. We were we weren't doing American fast food, and to be forced into on our first night having Papa John's pizza. And then they had these like chicken nuggets, but they were like tandoori chicken nuggets. They had like Indian seasoning. Those were actually awesome, right? Like, and I'm sure they don't have them in the United States. I'm sure it was because we were in Britain and they have good Indian food over there. It was, at least we got those, and that was like a little bit British. But then the really hilarious thing was we brought them back to the hotel room because there was no place to sit at this Papa John's. We brought them back to the hotel room. And we put on the 1979 Roger Moore James Bond film Moonraker, which looks like it was made in like 1952. It's like so bad. I'm not a big James Bond guy anyway, but this Moonraker was hilarious.
I love the British accent, dude. I'm such a big fan of British accent. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to London, so I'm so jealous that you got to go, dude.
This is so cool to hear. The whole experience. I mean, I can't stop smiling. I'm just like, man, I can't wait to experience this one day.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's like I cannot wait. Like Japan, oh my god.
Well,
I would die.
So, if you are a person who travels, which I know Ed, you are, you're got great facility with just being like, hey, I'm just going to get on a plane. And Val, I don't know you as well, but it sounds like you're pretty willing to just like jump on a plane and go see a ball game or something.
Mm-hmm.
If I only had like one message that I wish I could, convey through this conversation is it's just not that hard. It's not that hard.
I think the thing that turns me off is not being great at like the conversion, like when you turn your money in. Like there's a few things that turn me off. One of them is the money part, right? Like I don't know where to go, and then I don't know what pounds is, or I guess in my case yen, since I really want to go to Japan. I think that's one. Two is actually, I guess that's it. I hate doing the math in my head.
Well, the jet lag is to me the hardest one. I was in Laos in November, and like literally it was just like you change AM to PM. It was 12 hours different. And so like the time zone messed me up pretty good when I was in Laos. But the money thing is actually way, way easier than it used to be. I didn't change any cash. I didn't change any currency because everywhere now is just paperless. And so I paid with everything through either through Apple Pay or just tapping a credit card.
Wow.
And the bank does all the conversion for you. So, I mean, it helps to sort of roughly know what things cost. But like pounds, it was basically like $5 to £4. And so, even if you don't feel like doing the math, you can figure, okay, if they tell me something is roughly 20 pounds, it's going to be $20 and a little bit. It's like $20 plus tip. That's sort of how you had to think of everything. So, but yeah, I have two credit cards, and one of them does not charge an international fee. So,
okay.
And then the other thing about traveling internationally that sort of used to be hard. It used to be a project for me until I just decided to bite the bullet. My phone plan is such that I used to like put it in airplane mode, and I would only communicate when I could get Wi-Fi.
Just get the international plan for that.
The international plan is $10 a day, and so worth it.
Because if you don't do the international plan and you try texting or calling, I'm sure
you get all sorts of roaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know I know about, because when Darla travels for work, we automatically, I go into our plan, which is AT&T, is like turn on international for that specific phone, and then off it goes.
Yeah,
you don't think about it after that.
It is for real a small world out there, and it's like, and I don't mean to understate, like, we spent some money on the tickets, right? Like the tickets were not cheap, and you're staying in a hotel, and that's an expense. But like, I don't know, I drive a 12-year-old car, and I don't have like a lot
fully
of
paid off and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you choose to invest your liquid cash in experiences rather than stuff, then you can do stuff like this. And this was actually part of Amy's birthday present, right? Like, it was like, you're not going to have any presents to unwrap, but we're going to get to go see baseball in London. And she's like, I'm
get to experience it. That's my whole thing too. It's like the experiences is like, you don't get when you, let's be honest. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to get morbid here, but like when you die, you don't take anything with you, right? So it's like, we're collecting all this stuff, which I am a collector. But like, those experiences are cool, right? Like, Corporate Media or like the World Baseball Classic. I've been a part of that, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the Caribbean series, amazing. Which, by the way, is coming back to Miami, just so you guys know.
Very nice. Very nice.
So, I mean, those things are cool that you should, anybody, like, if you're a baseball fan, do it, man. That's like, I'm with you 100%.
And it's easy to get a passport, especially if you have an expired one. It's so easy.
And then mine, I think.
Here's the problem for us collectors. The problem is you start getting those stamps in the passport, and then you're like, oh boy.
Oh, don't tell me that.
I got all these empty pages in here. That means I
gotta start collecting. Yeah.
I just started my MLB and MILB and spring training passports, and I'm telling you, I can't stop flipping through my pages.
So
yeah.
So to recap everything is, if you have the opportunity, do it.
For me, especially because the Phillies were playing, like the moment I saw the Phillies were playing, I was just like, okay, I've got to find a way to make this happen. Mm-hmm. And that was before the Phillies, before they got off to the start they got off to this year, right? Like, it was just like, I want to go be a part of this.
But even if their team is gonna be shitty team, right? It doesn't matter. Like, like you get to experience that. Like I regret to this day, to be honest with you, not going to Puerto Rico when the Cleveland Indians were playing there against the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
The Puerto Rico series.
Yeah. Right.
I had the opportunity, I just never did it.
And like you just don't want to like live with that. I don't want to live with that.
Live with the regret.
Right?
Yeah, I know. Trust me. I'm
Yeah. So, and I get it, and I don't mean to be flippant about it, right? Like it's an investment. There's money involved. This is what I choose to spend my liquid cash on, and it was, it was. I don't regret it in the least.
And that's why we're all friends, because I just got to renew my passport.
Yeah.
So let's just redo our passport.
Yeah.
Let's plan out for the AAA Championship in Vegas.
Yep.
Celebrate a national holiday as well. Yeah. I mean, why not?
And then we'll all tell Eric Prophet that we're going to El Paso, but we're really going to
AAA. Yeah, exactly. And then he'll hang that over our heads for the rest of our lives again.
And I also got to say, and I know he'd be okay with me saying this because so far he's done it every year, but around that time, the chef for the Aviators puts together, and it's only during that time of the season, a beef Wellington burger. And it is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So we'll have to get that for Ed, put a few candles on it, and enjoy a few beef Wellington.
So here's your homework. Let's try to get him on the podcast.
Oh, that doesn't involve me. I'm just a guest here. I forgot.
Yeah, okay. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
this is how it is. Let's go.
At the AAA Championship, then maybe Val will facilitate an introduction here because I think that'd be pretty cool.
That would be how awesome would that be, though?
Right.
Oh my God, I'm just kidding. Eric is like rolling his eyes right now as he's listening to this episode. We're like, okay, you guys are going. Right. Now Val's going, so you guys going, and then when I went, nobody went.
I really hope that the Curve Brand Media, everyone from there can come here for a Vegas game. I know it's way on the other side of where a lot of people are, but still.
Again, we're
not
talking
that hard
about
for me to get to.
Yeah,
right.
Well, Paul, Anna's close by because she's in Texas.
Right. Yeah. So baseball bucket list. Yeah.
You got Eric, in Wichita. So I mean, you got a lot of people on, closer to you to Vegas than I'm the one who's the furthest away, and Patrick Larson.
By the way, you probably can't see it from here, but I'm wearing, kind of in your honor here, I'm wearing my my Vegas.
Nice.
You know what? I was gonna either wear this or that hat. I have a blue LV hat.
Right.
I'm still. I don't know if it's a 51s hat. I don't know.
I've got one 51s hat and I've got some Aviator stuff.
Speaking of hats, by the way, did you ever get a dad hat for the Fort Myers Miracle?
Who are you asking that?
You.
Me? No, yeah. I don't have a Miracle.
They're selling 47 cleanups right now.
Man.
I'm spending your money too. I get it. I know. I understand this.
I missed my chance to steal that Great Falls Voyagers cap that you have in your house.
I know you did. I did hide it.
Yeah, you hit it. You hit it well enough.
I hit it well.
I was like, Mia, tell me where the hats are.
Mia's like, I don't know. Daddy hides hats. Hides it from mommy. But yeah, just saying. I just ordered mine. Mine is in the mail. It should be here delivered tomorrow.
Amazing. Another Dan Simon classic.
So, speaking of a good classic, I'm wearing a snapback today, but look at this thing.
Oh, support local baseball.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
I was like, that's not a metal buckle,
I know. I gotta, I was here and I was like, let me just put it on. I don't want to be, everything is upstairs and baby girl went to sleep. And if I go make noise, it's not good for anybody. So, man, it's an hour and 20 minutes in, guys. This thing is gone. This is amazing. So
it's
me yapping. That's because I was so jazzed about this experience. It was such a fun experience.
I don't blame you. I was just looking at all the videos, and I'm so happy that you got to go. It really is a once in a lifetime, and then to see your team and to see the different people, foods, and houses, neighborhoods, everything. It's just so cool. That's the best part about travel, is that it's out there. You just got to go see it.
It's out there. You just got to go see it. Is absolutely right. And that was the the walk back, the decision to not take the subway and to walk 4.5 miles from the stadium to the hotel was like, I was so thrilled with that because like we saw like all the cool. They had a canal that was filled with houseboats, like people living on houseboats.
Oh yeah, they live there full time, dude.
I know, it was so cool, right? Like, it was so cool to see that. I was just like, that's, they had cats on them. They were like cats on houseboats.
Dude, I'm telling you, I so want to go to London. It's on my bucket list to go.
Yeah.
And watch a football game there. I was like, so it's on the bucket list.
My only advice is order dinner before 10:45 and keep an eye on it if there are Mets fans around.
Noted. Done. Check. So, my friend Paul, thanks so much, dude, for doing this. On this very official first episode, like with Val on now going forward. So I'm so excited, dude. This is. I'm happy that you got to go, my friend. I'm happy you got to go and experience.
Let me tell you what I'm excited about. I'm excited that I got to hang out with you again, Ed, my good friend. We have gotten to do so much baseball stuff recently. I am psyched to have finally met Val because, like I said, I've been following Val forever, and like one of these, like, why are we not friends? Val and I should be friends.
Right, no, definitely.
So now Val and I are friends, and I feel really good about that. And I feel really good about you guys as co-hosts of the Dad Hat Chronicles. I think this is a great thing you have in the works here. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Hey, I needed more baseball loving friends. I had been praying about it, and then within like a week, I meet Eric, I meet Patrick, I meet the mayor, I meet Ed, and now I'm on this thing, and it's just
wow. I don't know who any of those other people are, but
I don't know
just
who
kidding. Hi guys, I love you all.
I don't know who those yahoos are.
With the one and only Baseball by Design. Like, are you kidding? So
well, I feel the very same, and this is the Dad Hat Chronicles is off and running on a great new adventure.
I love it. All right, so for everybody, make sure that you guys are following all these wonderful people. Stadium Food Girl on Instagram, YouTube, right? TikTok. Make sure you guys are going on TikTok as well. You're on Threads, aren't you?
Who, me?
Yeah,
I am on Threads.
See, there you go. See, then you got that guy right there, the ginger visual. He's everywhere as well. You're on Instagram. You're on Twitter. You are on Facebook. You said you don't do all Facebook.
The countdown to spring training on Facebook. I'm on Facebook during the baseball off season.
There you go. And of course, the Dad Hat Chronicles, wherever you can find social media. So we will see you guys next time on another episode of the Dad Hat Chronicles podcast. I'm so excited for this, guys. I'm very excited. Just wanted to put that out there again.
Me too.
Like what?
Okay, bye.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Kelly Robinson, the Minor League Nerd. My YouTube channel explores the history of minor league baseball teams. More than just stats, we delve into team lineage, sharing stories from current franchises to obscure one-year wonders.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey everyone, it's Eric from the great state of Kansas.
This is Johnny from the New Orleans Baby Cakes Memorial Museum.
And we are the Earn Fun Average podcast,
where we talk to a variety of guests about their love of baseball and have fun doing it.
America, lower your standards.
Average is what we do best.
This is Patrick and Corey of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball. So get on the site and find a team near you today.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series. And in every episode, I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
Learn more about Curve Brim Media at curvebremmedia.com.